Do they agree? Assuring the fairness and validity of peer assessment through quantifying the extent of teammate agreement. Teachers have long used group projects to improve students' teamwork skills and future-ready employability. Furthermore, teammate peer assessment is increasingly adopted to improve the fairness of the grades awarded for a group project and to minimise the risk of freeloading and other dysfunctional teamwork behaviours. One general area of concern is the challenge of providing evidence that peer assessment is a fair, reliable and valid method for determining students' grades. Validation evidence is increasingly sought by professional education programs. For example, engineering educators seek evidence to assure their graduates meet the professional competencies for teamwork and leadership specified in the Washington Accord. Hitherto, opinion surveys of both students and teachers have been used as one basis to argue for confidence in the use of teammate peer assessment. However, more authoritative evidence can be provided through applying mathematical analyses available in advanced peer assessment platforms. In this talk, I address 3 questions. Do teammates agree with the ratings they give each other? How do we measure that level of agreement? To what extent do all the teams in my class rate each other fairly and consistently? How confident are we in the accuracy of peer assessment scores used as the basis for determining teamwork contribution-based grades, namely a student's mark? Prepare for a light show with colours, numbers and statistics as I introduce you to the wonders of concordance analysis as part of our journey to address these questions. In our learning adventure, I will present you with 2 case examples, the results of which we will compare later. You'll soon see that the first case presents a team in which there is strong agreement about the high performers and low performers. I'll use case 1 to step through the concept and measurement of concordance. In case 2, we'll see a contrasting case with much lower agreement amongst a team of students. Fasten your seatbelts, let's begin. Here in case 1, we see a table of peer assessment subscores. In general, these subscores are sourced from a peer assessment survey where each student rates the relative contribution of each teammate to the team's output and leadership processes. For example, student assessor Cameron rated herself 47.5 and her teammate Alexander much higher at 87.5. Examine the table. Can you see that the teammates agree amongst each other about the ratings they've given? Frankly, it's difficult to tell the degree of agreement from a quick inspection of the table. Now let's colour code each assessor column. I've used red to show the lowest score awarded by the assessor and green to highlight who they rated with the highest subscore. Now you can see clearly that every assessor rates Cameron with their lowest subscore rating in red, even though their actual numeric peer assess subscores differ. Similarly, 3 of the 4 students awarded Alexander with their highest subscore, shown in green. There appears to be a high level of agreement. But can we measure that level of agreement? How confident can we be with our measure of agreement? How accurate and precise are subsequent calculations of personal contribution grades derived from these peer assessments? Now I've recoded each assessor's data by ranking each subscore rating from 1, best in team, green, to 4, poorest in the team, red. Now it's abundantly clear there is almost complete agreement in the relative ranking of the students in the team. Just one of the 4 students, Alexander, disagrees with the ranking of 2 students, namely of Michaela and of himself. We measure the level of agreement amongst rankings using a statistic called the Kendall concordance coefficient. The concordance coefficient is defined to range from 1, perfect agreement, to 0, complete disagreement. A value of 0, complete disagreement, means you are looking at a table of random numbers. For case 1, you see the concordance coefficient is 0.93. Very high agreement. That seems reasonable given our journey through the previous 3 tables. I'll spare you the mathematics until you are ready for a tea break a little later on. Once you've calculated Kendall's concordance, you can conduct a test for statistical significance. Here the probability statistic of 1.1% calculated from the concordance value informs us that it's very, very unlikely that the sub-scores awarded by the team were delivered by chance. We are definitely not looking at a table of random numbers. Consequently, a statistician would advise you should reject the null hypothesis that there is no agreement among the teammate assessors. I do apologise for the double negative. It's a statistician thing. In plain language, it's very, very likely in case 1 that the students agree in their peer assessment ratings. Consequently, you can be very confident in using these peer assessment scores as a fair basis for awarding each student a different personal result for their contribution to the group assignment, their team contribution-based grade. Here now are the peer assessed scores for each assessee row, averaged from the sub-scores of each assessor. Self-assessment scores are generally excluded from the calculation of a peer-assessed score. Statistically speaking, we are confident that the rank ordering of this set of peer-assessed scores within the team is highly accurate. Alexander, flag green, is definitely the top-ranked student, and Cameron, the most poorly ranked, flagged red. I'll return to the topic of accuracy at the end of case 2, which I'll now introduce. In case 2, I explore a team where there is less strong agreement about the peer assessment ratings the teammates awarded each other. This lower agreement has implications for the accuracy and therefore fairness of grades arising from this team's peer assessment. Here in case 2, you'll suspect from the splattered random palette of colours there is low agreement by the assessors. For example, assessee Steve is rated the lowest by Greg, but most highly by assessor Patrick. Converted to rank orders, the palette of colours reinforces the lack of agreement. But how do you measure the absence of agreement? We use our now trusted Kendall concordance statistic, and here's what results. Nothing escapes Kendall's concordance. The statistics show a low level of concordance, 0.16. Interpreting the significance of the probability value, our statistician would recommend that we accept there is no agreement among the teammate assessors. The table of peer assessments is almost a table of random numbers, even though we can calculate some kind of rank order. Now, I'll compare and contrast our tale of two teams, our tale of two concordance analyses. The lower table, case 2, shows low concordance, that is, low agreement. Our visual inspection of the horizontal colours suggests we might conclude that assessee Greg is the poorest ranked assessee in the team and Steve is the top ranked. However, we are less confident about the relative ranking of the other students. This lack of confidence has implications for the accuracy and precision of this team's results. The upper table, case 1 in contrast, shows agreement amongst the teammate peer assessments, which is statistically significant. The horizontal lines of a similar colour for each assessee provide face value confirmation of the statistical calculations. The concordance value is almost 1, the maximum possible value that occurs when there is total agreement. Now, let's explore the implications of what we have discovered for accuracy and fairness. For Case 2, we calculate the peer assessed scores as we did in Case 1 by averaging the subscores awarded to each assessee. The low concordance score suggests we should not be confident about the accuracy of the peer assessed score we have calculated. For each assessee, I've calculated one estimate of the accuracy of each peer assessed score. I've used the standard deviation of the subscores awarded by each assessor. More simply, I could have used the range of values divided by 2. Concordance analysis helps us identify the degree to which teams are in agreement about the relative rankings of their teammates. This table illustrates how a higher statistical concordance is associated with better accuracy in the estimate of each student's true peer-assessed score. For instance, you see that for Case 1, with high concordance, the typical accuracy is better than half that of the typical accuracy for Case 2, the team with lower concordance. Note that in Case 2, Patrick, with a peer score of 27, has an accuracy of plus or minus 40, which is greater than the value of his actual peer-assessed score. If I was Patrick and discovered the lack of accuracy associated with my low peer-assessed score, I'd be on the warpath for a regrade, perhaps arguing for a grade of 60 or more. Concordance analysis, correctly deployed as part of a comprehensive peer assessment program, can help mitigate such an eventuality through your applying such measures as academic policy, peer assessment training, and formative feedback. How do you conduct concordance analysis? There are 4 approaches you can pursue to conduct concordance analysis on your peer assessment survey results. If you have a few teams, use an online calculator. Paste in your peer assessed scores like those we showed at the start of Case 1. The concordance statistics are calculated. You can code your own app using the mathematical formula for Kendall's W, illustrated soon. Create your own spreadsheet by adapting the code provided in a tutorial by Charles Zaonts. If you have a large number of students and teams, you will find helpful a utility that analyzes your whole peer assessment dataset, highlighting for attention those teams with the least concordance. The Peer Assessment Quality Assurance Probe, PAQWAP, from Peer Assess Pro provides this analysis in addition to other measures qualifying the validity of your peer assessment results. Here's the formula to code your own. But wait, there's more. Whatever approach you pursue, you need code that implements the extended version of the Kendall's concordance statistic. Namely, you must account for situations with tied rankings and a sparse table of rankings where some peer assessments may be absent and self-assessments are optionally excluded. In summary, concordance analysis of a team's peer assessment ratings provides one quantitative measure of the degree to which a team's ratings are in agreement. Significance. A team's concordance can be tested for statistical significance, which assures confidence in the fairness of personal grades calculated from peer assessment ratings. Accuracy. A higher concordance for a team is associated with a higher accuracy in calculations of contribution-based grades. Consequently, there is less room for dispute by students about their grades. Validity. Higher concordance, significance, and accuracy contribute towards assuring fairness and higher validity of the entire peer assessment process. Outliers. A byproduct of concordance analysis is the identification of extreme outlier ratings by students. Risk management. Improved outlier analysis, fairness, and higher validity preempt the risk of pushback or complaints by outlier students. In a future video, I'll demonstrate the Peer Assessment Quality Assurance Probe, PAQUOP, from Peer Assess Pro for large-scale peer assessment events. The PAQUOP utility calculates team concordance across an entire class with hundreds of teams and thousands of students. PAQUOP provides several services that help assure the validity of your teammate peer assessment event by highlighting for your attention teams that disagree most significantly about the ratings of their teammates, teams that evade their responsibility to rate each other by rating everyone the same or somewhat generously, students whose ratings are outliers when compared with their teammates, students who are at risk, such as those whose self-assessment is overconfident or underconfident when compared with the rating provided by their teammates, and related evidential qualitative feedback pertaining to at-risk individuals and teams. What are the implications for your practice of teammate peer assessment? First, add concordance analysis to assure the validity, accuracy and fairness of your teammate peer assessment practices. Second, focus your coaching, training or interventions solely on the teams and individuals who demonstrate low agreement and outlier rating behaviour. Attention here will improve validity and minimise the risk of pushback by individuals rated poorly. Finally, adopt a comprehensive teammate peer assessment platform that integrates survey management, concordance analysis and advanced decision support combined with a consistent group work policy. Thank you for joining me on this learning adventure. We welcome your inquiries about how Peer Assess Pro can help improve the validity, accuracy and fairness of your teammate peer assessment program. Please contact our team through Peer Assess Pro or request our online ebook.